Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And if it's your first time here, well, welcome. Today, I've got a ticket on Delta Connection from Nashville to LaGuardia Airport, and you're coming along with me. Today, my flight is going to be operated by Republic Airlines, and I'm flying on an Embraer 170. My aircraft's call sign today will be Brickyard. I get really excited just approaching an airport, so while in my lift, which I chose to get more Delta Sky miles, I made sure that my camera was out and recording just to document being by airport property. Approach lights, ILS systems, they're so cool. And so is this sign welcoming you to BNA, the airport code for the Nashville International Airport. I am especially excited about my visit to BNA today because the airport just opened up a grand lobby, and I'm one of the first passengers that gets to experience it. Well, I've just arrived here at the Nashville Airport, and I'm about to enter the terminal. Come along with me. Airline check-in areas are located on the right and left sides of the main entry area and are well organized and well lit. 19 airlines operate out of this airport, which handle over 18 million passengers in 2022. I could use the Sky Priority check-in area here, but I've got no bags today, so I'm going to head right over to TSA. Am I really sure I want to head over to TSA right now? Why rush to an airport that I don't travel to very often? There's a lot to see here. Let's ascend to see what it's all about. Okay, you know me, I can't just go right to TSA. I got to check out this terminal on the land side. It is beautiful. This brand new grand lobby, part of the BNA Vision Improvement Plan, is truly a grand space, and I like the use of the word grand, hinting at the Grand Ole Opry. This is a 200,000 square foot space. Gorgeous hanging art and large LED screens make this a really pleasant entry point to the terminal. There's something really nice about including the state name next to the city name. You don't see that very often at a lot of airports. This is a really nice way to start my journey today on the Embraer. I'm looking forward to going through TSA. It's actually a really nice TSA area. Here's a look at some of the other airlines' check-in desks at the other wing of the terminal. Let's head over to TSA.
Remember that if you're not subscribed to my channel, you're missing out on one of the most interesting and inspiring aviation channels out there, so consider subscribing so you don't miss my next video.
With clear and pre-check, TSA was an absolute breeze. I'm going to spend some time walking around the terminal before I head over to the Delta Sky Club. Wow, I don't know if I've ever been in an airport where its theme hits you in the beginning and runs throughout. Country music and guitars is certainly a theme here at this airport. Let's go walking. We'll start off in the C concourse. While it starts off looking like a typical US airport, right away there's a store dedicated to the state, and that was followed by live entertainment in the country music genre. And that wasn't the only live performer that I saw in this terminal. There's nothing like this, and I had to remind myself I was in an airline terminal, so I paused to look at this American 737 that was parked at Gate Charlie 10. But once I turned my eyes inward, it was back to a world of country music. I really got immersed in this place, but passing by Gate Charlie 19 once again told me that I was at an airport. Nice Southwest 737 there. There's definitely a real Tennessee vibe that I feel at this airport. B Nashville. Is that what BNA stands for? Actually, it's not. Airport codes sometimes aren't always intuitive, and this one sure isn't. The original name for this airport was Berry Field, so the B is used for the first letter as a nod to its first name, and the NA clearly indicates that it's Nashville. This airport respects Nashvilleian history, as this plaque honors a notable local who was born before the airport was even built. It's now time to leave the C concourse and head over to the D gates, the newer set of gates at the airport. This is an ultra-modern part of the airport, and it's a stark contrast from the concourse we just visited. This concourse is 115,000 square feet and includes 6 brand new gates. New York LaGuardia, that's my destination, but that's a Southwest gate. I'm going to be flying on Delta today. That store may be true to Tennessee, but I'm true to Delta. I enjoyed seeing that there was so much local cuisine in this concourse. I had even been to a branch of one of the restaurants that was in the city itself. So nice to see it here at BNA. After visiting this concourse, I passed by the security area to get to the other side of the airport. The terminal is not yet fully complete. I'm going to continue working my way over to the A and B gates just up ahead. We're going back in time a bit as we enter the area that branches off to concourses A and B. As we head down the A concourse, we enter a narrow corridor. This concourse is home to international arrivals and has many retro posters on the walls. It also has a carpeted floor with a swirl pattern, which for some reason has its own fan Instagram account. Like the more famous carpet at PDX, this carpet is popular. Why? I have no idea. While it is interesting, I'm more interested in looking at this United A320 at Gate Alpha 4 and this sign for Cape Air, which offers flights to essential air service airports. The end of the concourse is well lit, and from it, I caught a glimpse of a Contour Embraer, which also services essential air service airports. Up next are the B gates, and from the A gates, I saw this Sun Country 737 parked at B. Gates of the B concourse probably had the least Nashvilleian feel about them. Here's the plane I'll be boarding later on at Gate Bravo 3, but since I want to cover the entire airport, I decided to walk past my gate to the end of the pier to check out this simple-looking concourse. I came across a nice children's play area here, but the most impressive part of the B concourse is the newly renovated Delta Sky Club, an oasis for Delta travelers.
Come with me as I check out the newly redesigned Delta Sky Club here in Nashville.
This club is completely redesigned, and it reopened as if it were a brand new club in the summer of 2022. There's 10,000 square feet of space and lots of extra seating here. It's 4 times larger than the footprint of the original Sky Club. Okay, I'm done with the Sky Club. My boarding gate is right next door, Bravo 3. Let's head over to LaGuardia.
Destination. Please remove any lithium battery-powered device. Any batteries from your smart beds or e-cigarettes.
Okay, we're only delayed about 20 minutes. There is some weather that passed through the New York City area earlier, but I'm headed to my favorite airport, LaGuardia. Today's Embraer 170 is operated by Republic Airlines and uses the radio call sign Brickyard. If you watched my previous video, I flew on Brickyard's first-class cabin to Nashville, but for this flight to LaGuardia, I'll be behind first in Comfort Plus. Comfort Plus has a 2x3 seating configuration. There's more legroom here than in the main cabin behind me. Alright guys, I boarded the Embraer 170. One thing that I'm not happy about is that the windows are really not very well aligned for viewing out of this aircraft today. I might have been better off in the main cabin where the seats are better aligned with the windows. This will be a struggle. So the aircraft definitely has large windows. It's just the alignment that is the issue for today's flight.
Delay. That was air traffic control due to winds and volume in the New York area. So instead of having us take off on time and hold in the air with delay vectors, burn some extra gas, they have us stay on the ground and give us a time where we're allowed to take off. That time's top of the hour, so we're going to push off early, slowly start our engines and make our way to the runway to plan on being airborne at the top of the hour. Once we are airborne, we got 130 knots of wind at our tail, 1 hour and 23 minutes of flying time, takeoff and touchdown. We had 33,000 feet, expecting a mostly smooth ride for the first about 30 minutes, and then we get into some weather up towards the New York area where we'll have a little bit of turbulence, so we do ask you to observe that seatbelt sign. If that's on, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened. Weather in New York, low overcast skies, currently 37 degrees and windy. We'll give you an update with our time of arrival and the gate once you're airborne. Thanks for joining us. Welcome aboard.
Did you hear that announcement? That can be common for flights headed to LaGuardia. It's always better to take the delay on the ground than take off and hold in the air and possibly divert due to low fuel. The FAA's air traffic control system uses traffic manage initiatives to manage demand with capacity. In the end, we're saving a fuel by taking a delay on the ground. We pushed back a little early with the hope of possibly being released sooner. Today, our departure runway will be runway 20 right, and Nashville Ground Control provides us with taxi instructions to get there, but not in one shot. We're told the times to hold before moving so that we can comply with the wheels up time that the FAA has provided. We spent some time in this position waiting for our release to LaGuardia before we can continue out toward the runway. The weather was quite bad in the entire New York City area, and LaGuardia wasn't the only affected airport. Newark, which is in close proximity to LaGuardia, was also experiencing ground delays, and as we taxied out, we saw a United A320 with a destination of Newark. Like us, this aircraft had to do some holding on the ground under the control of Nashville Ground Control. By the way, it's not the control tower that decides the delay time on the ground. This is determined by higher-level air traffic control facilities and relayed to the tower to inform the pilots on the ground. I didn't film too much of the taxi to the runway because of the water that was on the window from a previous cell that had passed over BNA, but my camera is rolling now because we've been released and the ground controller has handed us off to the local tower controller and we've been issued clearance for takeoff. Today, we'll be using the full length of runway 20 right. Just over 7,700 feet of runway will be available to us. Runway 20 right is parallel to runway 20 left, the runway I landed on in the previous video on this channel. The airline terminal is between the two runways, and there's actually a center runway located between the right and left runways too. The airport has a sort of odd layout, and the surface of the airport is not flat, with many dips between the taxiway system. Let's head on over to LaGuardia. We are now airborne and are going to switch to the departure controller. Today, we are following the Chatham 3 RNAV departure procedure, but ATC needs to get us to the northeast, and we're headed in a southerly direction now. A series of left turns needs to be issued to get us toward the northeast, and the departure fix called SWAP, which is located near the Wolf River Resort on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Once over SWAP, we proceed with the en route phase of flight, which will bring us to the beginning of the arrival procedure to LaGuardia, not the airport itself. Today, we'll be joining the Corey for arrival at Gordonsville, Virginia. To get to Gordonsville, the en route phase of flight is primarily in a east-northeast direction. Once at Gordonsville, we'll fly the Corey for arrival, which will take us over Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey, where we will descend to the NYC area. Now, for our approach to LaGuardia, well, the weather is actually quite bad. The visibility is low, the ceiling is less than 1,000 feet, and most notably, the wind is coming from 110 degrees with gusts up to 28 knots. With strong winds like this, the most favorable landing runway is runway 13, which allows for a good headwind, but runway 13 is rarely used for landing because the approach overflies Teterboro Airport in New Jersey and is in the airspace that's generally used for Newark flights. In addition to this, if LaGuardia is landing on runway 13, JFK also needs to use runway 13 left or 13 right for landing, so the two airports don't conflict with each other. After flying the Corey for arrival, we'll approach Lower Manhattan at 4,000 feet above arrivals to JFK, then fly northbound up the Hudson River, and then in the vicinity of the Bronx, we'll make a left turn into New Jersey, then continue until we're lined up with runway 13. Unfortunately, due to the clouds, I could not see much, but my seat on the right side of the airplane would have provided for two amazing Manhattan views. One while flying up the Hudson, and the other time just crossing Manhattan north of Central Park. This is so rare, and I'm not happy I can't see that much. In this clip, we've already descended to 4,000 feet, and Manhattan is right outside my window, but I can't see it. I did see that the clouds were somewhat illuminated from the city lights, especially from Times Square below. After this, we made the big left-hand turn over New Jersey to circle back and land. We're now overflying Manhattan, roughly around the path of 125th Street from the west to the east, below 2,000 feet. The view of Central Park from this low vantage point would have been awesome, but I just can't see it tonight. It's so rare to be in this airspace, but I'm excited to know that I'm on a special approach. Our flight doesn't break out of the clouds until over co-joined Randall's and Ward's Islands, which is an island surrounded by Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens. As soon as we fly over this island, we're directly over the East River, just north of Hellgate, and the airport is directly ahead of us. We'll actually not fly over land in Queens, but we'll parallel its north shore of Ditmar Steinway, and once we're over the airport property, we'll finally be over the borough of Queens on land. It's hard to show this on camera, but it was a bumpy ride coming into runway 13.
And of course, on top of that, I had to lean forward because of the misaligned window, and when the window is wet and it's dark outside, it's not easy to film, but I had to document this very rare moment. Since I've been flying out of LaGuardia, this is only the second time I've ever landed on runway 13. Runway 13 is commonly used as a departure runway. We are flying directly over the East River, and we'll be over water until we touch down. On the left side of the airplane is Rikers Island. Even though the island is part of the Bronx, it's only accessible by land by means of a bridge from the borough of Queens, which we're looking at on the right. The bridge is the final landmark that we see. Let's make a rare runway 13 touchdown.
All right, well, that was quite an interesting approach to runway 13 tonight. I'm sorry the visibility wasn't that good. We actually did wind up flying northbound up the Hudson River. Manhattan was on the right-hand side of the airplane, but the visibility was very, very poor. The cloud cover was very low, so I didn't get that great view of Manhattan as I expected. I was also hoping for a nice view of Manhattan as we turned final approach onto runway 13, but that really didn't happen because we broke out at a low altitude. But it was really exciting. It was quite bumpy coming in, but that's always exciting when you have a flight like that. I enjoyed the flight this evening.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my video. Thanks so much for watching. It was really exciting to bring you on a very interesting journey from Nashville to LaGuardia. Remember that if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I invite you to consider clicking on the subscribe button below. Hit the bell button, hit the like button, and I'll be back again with many more videos like this. Thanks, everybody.